What's up, fuckers? I've been trying to figure out how YouTube's changing shit around, and I've been doing this shit on my fucking iPad for the past 6 months, so I haven't quite figured it out yet. We'll figure it out for next time. Oh, what's up, fuckers? Sorry about the shitty angle. I gotta do this on my phone, so whatever. I can still see you. Can you hear me all right? Let me put my headphones in. Ghetto operations as usual. All right, fuckers. Can you hear me now? The fucking beard out of the way. All right, cool. What's up, fuckers? Sorry about the shitty angle. We'll make do, man. I'm going with the small bottles. I'm weaning myself off slowly but surely. What's up from Charlotte? What's up, fuckers? I know it's been a while. Shit. I needed a little downtime, man. That last stretch about fucking killed me. uh, BC. What's up, Kimberly, BC? Uh, nice to see you. Hey, Tortuga, what's up, man? Tortuga, if you guys follow me on YouTube, know Tortuga and I hiked together this year. That motherfucker lives way the hell out in Israel. Goddamn, what time is it in Israel right now? Shit. How's Maine treating you? So far, so good. Just been killing time, basically. Trying not to go insane. Just basically just walking around town and making sure my joints stay somewhat functional. Because last year when I just sat on my ass, my body locked up. So I'm just walking around town and shit and just make sure the body's loose. But my knees are still fucked and my ankles still pretty messed up right now. It's getting better every day. So we'll get back to normal eventually. Is Roscoe there yet? So we should probably get that out of the way. Roscoe is not here yet, unfortunately. Just haven't figured out a way to get him up here yet. And it was kind of like a short notice thing where I basically just got my ticket, got to Canada, flew out here, and didn't really have time to plan on getting Roscoe. I would have had to fly down south to North Carolina, or actually South Carolina where he's at, get him, and then find a way to get up to Maine. I didn't have the money to do all of that, so I had to do a one-way trip to Maine. But I think I have a ride lined up to get Roscoe over Thanksgiving, so won't be very much longer. I'm pretty fucking stoked to see him, to say the least. Start pumping out the questions, guys. I'll be on here for about an hour or so. Did you find out what was wrong with your ankle? I never went to the doctor. It's just an old ankle sprain that I had from like 3 years ago. It's never healed properly. So, when you're hiking for over 2,000 miles, it tends to fucking hurt a bit. So, it really got bad when I was doing big mile days and shit. But yeah, it's just one of those things I deal with. When I'm just walking around town and shit, it's not that bad. But you put 30 pounds on your back and start hiking on mountains all fucking day, then that old ankle injury fucks me up. Uh, what part of Maine? I'm in Biddeford, Maine, which is southern Maine, just outside of Portland. So right by the ocean. I haven't seen the fucking ocean. Shit, it's been a long time, man. Probably since I lived in Texas, and that was the Gulf of Mexico. And I actually went and saw the ocean a couple days ago. And just took a walk down the beach there. Pretty fucking cool. I won't be getting in that shit anytime soon, though. It's fucking cold. uh, Congratulations on the PCT. Thank you very much. Was I happy with my tent? Yeah, fucking Hyperlight tent kicked ass, man. Actually got it right here. Finally dried it out. It was forgot to all my shit was still stoked when I got home, so I finally dried this bitch out. Thing held up, man. It did a kick ass job. I was real pleased with that tent for sure. Uh, you might have already said this, but what are your future plans? So I've got a million fucking questions. And when the CDT is going to happen, it's not going to be next year. I've already decided, and I kind of made my mind up, throughout the PCT this year that I was going to take a year off. And that last stretch on the PCT this year pretty much solidified my decision, and I was just drained mentally and physically towards the end, especially mentally. My mind was shot. It was just stressful as hell. So I think after 2 years in a row, I'm gonna need a fucking break and make sure my gear is all tight. And I got to spend a year with Roscoe. So I'm gonna be hiking around the AT with Roscoe next year. Not through hiking, but I'll be on the AT, especially up here in Maine, New Hampshire area, and I'm gonna be doing some free shit up here. So all you fuckers that are going northbound on the AT that never get trail magic up here in the north, I'll be the asshole on the side of the road cooking up hot dogs and shit. And then I'm gonna try to make it to Damascus for trail days this year, or next year, because that is one fucking amazing scene. I miss being on the AT, man. It's gonna be fucking awesome. What made you decide on Maine? So a couple things. You know, when I obviously hiked through here on the AT, I fell in love, and I actually hit Maine right at the perfect time on my through hike. Colors were popping. It was just gorgeous, and I was just in awe of the whole fucking trail all through Maine. So when I got off the AT, I knew in the back of my mind I wanted to move up here eventually. Now, obviously, I'd planned on doing the PCT, so I was gonna have to wait. But and the other reason was Hyperlight had offered me a job. I hit them up towards the end of the trail and this year and see if they're hiring. And they said, "Well, we'll get you in there." They were trying to hold a sewing job for me, which they had an opening for. And because that last stretch on the trail took so fucking long, they had to fill the position. So that's why I haven't started work there yet. But I had a meeting with them last week, and we got some ideas brewing. They got some ideas brewing rather, and just playing the waiting game, see what they want to do with my ass. But we'll be working for Hyperlight soon, and they're here in Biddeford. That's just why I moved here. They're literally a fucking 10-minute walk from my house. Was my camera ever found? No, unfortunately, no. My camera was not found. I'm still butthurt about it. You know, I really wanted to start filming, at least do some gear videos and shit like that for you guys. I know you're patient, but I'm quite stubborn, and I want to film with a good camera. You know, I filmed with my iPhone for the last, stretch of the PCT, and it does fine. But after using that full frame for most of the trail, I just got so used to using it, and I just felt comfortable in my hands. Now, I did have a follower meet me. He lives in New Hampshire, and actually drove up here the other day and gave me his old DSLR. So I do have a backup. Well, it will be a backup when I get a new Sony, but this is like a 10-year-old camera. It's Canon, what is it? Rebel T2i. This fucker is like ancient, but it's got 18 megapixels and it takes decent photos. I actually did a test run and tried to shoot some video with this the other day to see how it would do, and I noticed a humming sound in the audio, so that's not going to work. And from the research I've done on this camera, when you plug a microphone into these cameras, they do a shitty job. So I won't be filming a video with this, but I'll be able to take some decent photos with it for sure. Roscoe here yet? Nope. Roscoe will be here hopefully by Thanksgiving. I'm gonna go get his ass. Is my beard the longest it has ever been? Yeah, probably. Shit, I didn't touch it the whole fucking trail, and it was pretty fucking long when I started, as many of you know. So I didn't touch it one fucking bit. As you can see, my fucking headphones won't even get around it. But yeah, I'll probably end up trimming it a little bit just because it is a pain in the ass. What was your rain jacket and how did you like it? I actually it's hanging up there. I can't grab it right now, but it's the Marmot. What the fuck would name it? I got it on clearance at REI off the website. I think I got it had it ordered and brought it up to, had it shipped up to Cascade Locks. That thing was killer. I started out with Outdoor Research Helium 2, which is very popular amongst through hikers just because it's light as shit. But that thing got shredded. Like, as I wore the same jacket on the AT and that got shredded too. So with the weather coming up in Oregon and obviously Washington, I had to up my game in the rain jacket department. So that Marmot is like thick as shit, and it kept me warm. Even through that snow in Washington, I basically just had my base layer like hiking shirt on, and my button-up shirt, and then wore that rain jacket over it. Very rarely did I have to put another base layer on. That thing kept me fucking warm. So I can't remember the name of it. I'm sorry, but it was clearance, just like the cheapest decent one I can get on REI's clearance rack because I was broke as shit at the time. But without that fucker, I would have been screwed. So I'm glad I got it. Um, what would you do different as far as food is concerned? Nothing. It's the same hiker trash food I've been eating since the AT. It's the same shit. Although my appetite didn't. I pretty much could eat everything on the PCT. Yeah, I got sick of shit, but it wasn't like, okay, I need to choke this shit down. Mashed potatoes got really fucking old towards the end, but ramen, I enjoyed ramen, every fucking night all the way to the end. I could eat that. But I had so many people hooking me up with mountain houses and shit like that. I ate like a fucking king towards the end. I was having mountain houses and backpackers pantry and all that shit towards the end. So, yeah, but the typical hiker shit, I could eat it. When you're pushing miles every fucking day, and especially in that cold weather, you don't really care what it tastes like. So, bear bag or hyperlight pods. So, yeah, I made the switch to the pods this year for my food bag. Last year I carried the Z Packs food bag, which worked fine. It just got shredded. Just from rolling it down, day in and day out on the AT. That the carbon fiber or the Dyneema eventually shredded, which is understandable. But I didn't want to deal with that this year. So I knew of the pod sacks from Hyperlight before, and I think I was using one on the AT for like clothes or something like that. And I said, fuck it, I'm going to try it for food this year. So I got two of the large ones. And what was nice about them is you don't have to roll those fuckers down. It's a zip. So you just zip it open and then you can open it all the way up and see what all your shit is in there. Rather, like with the Z packs, you had to, if there's something on the bottom you wanted the first night, you had to pull all your shit out to find it. Whereas the pods, you just zip them open and you can see everything in there. So they worked out real nice. I had two of the large ones, and that was plenty enough for like, I could probably fit like maybe 6 or 7 days worth of food. That's pushing it, but 6 days for sure. Yeah, my manners are still in hiker trash mode. uh, uh, how the merch sales going? I saw a few T-shirts. I had last year. I had that website, which it got to the point where I just didn't want to pay for the domain and all that shit anymore. So rather this year, last year it was a pain in the ass for me. I did everything on my own basically. I mean, I went to a screen printer and got those nice shirts made up and shit. But then I was the guy going to the fucking post office every other day, mailing out multiple packages. It was just a pain in the ass for me. So this year I just did it through a site called Teespring, which they have a affiliate link with YouTube, so it makes it easier. So yeah, if you want to, like, I got a couple designs. I'll probably come up with some more and shit. I still got to make stickers and shit, but I got a couple shirts that I just kind of threw up there, and they've been selling all right. The main reason I'm doing that, obviously, people request them, but is so I can buy a new fucking camera, so I can start filming again, because I'm broke as shit. So gotta get that income, and I'm not working yet, so I need to get a new fucking camera. Do you have a link for your Teespring? Yeah, so it's on. If you go on my Instagram, it's linked in the bio description there. You'll see the link there. I had a couple hoodies up there and a couple shirt designs. So and a coffee mug. This coffee mug's been selling good. I actually got mine finally today. People were getting theirs before I got mine. I got mine today finally. So did I lose weight? I don't know. I haven't weighed myself. I never weighed myself on the trail. I attempted to weigh myself one time on the trail at some church hostel I was at, and the scale was off. It was just fucked up. So I don't know how much I weighed. I think I weighed like 175 maybe when I started. So on the AT, I lost 5 pounds. I'm guessing it's around the same. I mean, I never really paid attention to that. I paid more attention to how I felt. As long as I felt good and I felt strong to hike every day, that's all I was concerned about. As long as I had the energy. What did I crave most when I was hiking? Just candy. It was never enough fucking candy. Dinner's okay. I mean, there was plenty of nights where I didn't even fucking eat dinner. I just ate chocolate bars for dinner. That's all I craved all the fucking time. So Snickers and Nutella and M&Ms and M's and all that shit. There's never enough. And I got hooked on the big surprise this year. I don't know if it's a surprise for some of you, but for me, it was new. Was the Sour Patch watermelons. Holy shit, those are fucking good. I got addicted to those real fucking quick, but I couldn't buy like I'd buy a massive fucking family size bag and I'd burn through it like the first night, if not the second night. So it didn't last very long, but I got hooked on those fuckers. They're real good. What day did you get to Kenny Meadows? I don't know. I entered the Sierra June 18th. I remember that. So I think I had what three zeros at Kennedy Meadows. So mid June, June 15th, 14th, somewhere around there. I was raring to go. I was gonna zero for sure, maybe double zero, but the triple zero thing I was waiting on. an extra battery bank to show up for the longer stretches of the series. I didn't think I'd have enough juice to film, so I was waiting on my other power bank to show up in the mail. So that's why I was at Kennedy Meadows for so long. But I wasn't complaining. It was chill. I knew people that were there that were hung out for like a week and shit. So I don't have Instagram. How do I get the link? So I think if you just search, go on Teespring. I think it's spelled Tee Spring.com, and search my store. It's called Saved by Mountains. And you search that, I think it'll come up. How many pairs of glasses did you go through in the trail? I went through a shit ton, man. Like 5 pair. Yeah. I went through 5 pair of sunglasses. I just kept losing or breaking them. I felt real bad because I got a YouTube subscriber sent me a really nice pair of like Smith Optic glasses, which I fucking love those. When I got those in the mail, I think I actually got those at Kennedy Meadows, and I fucking loved them. They were really comfortable and they're like really high quality sunglasses. And I lost them over Mather Pass. It was dark going over the pass in the morning, and that pass there was a lot of rock scrambling on top of snow traverses and ice traverses and shit. So you would have kept taking your pack off and taking micro spikes off and putting them back on and all this shit. So every time I put them back on and off, eventually my sunglasses just popped off somewhere and I lost them in the dark. So I felt bad because that guy just sent me this really expensive pair of sunglasses and I lost them. So, but whatever. I didn't really use them towards the end. I didn't need them. It was mainly just for the snow and in the desert. They were nice to have too. Uh, is it carrying an iPad for video editing, or should I stick with a phone? The phone was fine. I my iPad ended up breaking like I don't know somewhat earlier on the trail, like the last month or so. I was editing on my phone. I had the same software, luckily already downloaded on my phone, and it was doable. I carry an iPad because it makes my life a lot easier. It's a hell of a lot easier to edit on an iPad, but if you don't want to carry that weight, then the phone is sufficient. It's the workflow is easier on an iPad because everything's bigger. Did I have experience with an ice axe prior to the PCT? Never. I never worn micro spikes in my life. I never worn crampons in my life. I never owned or used an ice axe ever in my life. I hiked on snow just for day hikes and shit like that, but nothing like that. So when I went up in the Sierras, I learned all that shit on the fly. Yeah, it was a learning process for sure. But by the end, I think I got pretty good at it. Now the ice axe, I think I used it maybe 3 or 4 times. I felt I needed it in the Sierras, mainly going down passes on the south sides are really icy and shit, and the drop off is just insane on some of those. So yeah, probably 4 or 5 times maybe in the Sierra, and then I actually had to rebuy one because I sent all my winter gear home at Kennedy Meadows, not think I'm gonna need it again. Well, obviously once we got to Washington and all that snow hit us, all of my crew did the same fucking thing. So we were all buying winter gear like right at the fucking very end for like 1 week of trail use. So I went out and bought a new ice axe and new micro spikes, and I ended up using the second ice axe one time over Rock Pass up there in the last stretch, which I probably could have done without it, but I'm glad I had it just in case. What was my favorite part of the trail and why? That's too fucking hard of a question. It's too hard. I just love it all. I mean, there's obviously parts that stand out. The Sierras are just mind-blowingly gorgeous, but there's like places like in Oregon when the smoke is rising over the mountains and shit. That it reminds me of the Blue Ridge Mountains. I just fucking love that shit too. So it's hard to pinpoint one fucking favorite. I just love it all. Although California got real fucking long towards the end, man, I was ready to get the fuck out of there. I got real bad mentally. Northern California, man, I was ready to be done with that state anyway. I'm sober thanks to you. That's fucking awesome. And I don't try to preach sobriety, but I try to just tell my story. And the amount of people that reach out to me and tell me that very thing, it does mean a fucking lot. So keep going, man. That's awesome. Point Six Socks Ambassador. Congrats. Thanks, Julie. Yeah, I just got a sponsorship with Point Six Socks. If you're not familiar with them, they're out of Colorado. I actually used their socks on the AT a couple times last year, and I enjoyed them. The one pair they had sent me up in New Hampshire made it through New Hampshire and Maine, so I was hooked. But unfortunately, on the PCT, you can't find them anywhere. You know, Darn Toughs and like Smart Walls and shit, they're everywhere in all the outfitters. But point six, you can't find them. But I finally got they offered me a sponsorship or ambassador deal with them, so I got a bunch, and they just released some base layers which are dope. I haven't put them on yet, but they're soft as shit, merino wool. I'm stoked to use those this winter up here in Maine. You guys still typing? I'm not seeing any questions right now. Where's my challenge to back up, man? Don't dip, children. It's a disgusting habit, but I'm addicted, man. Do you wish less zeros for a shorter hike? What does that mean? Do you less wish zeros for a shorter hike? When I get antsy, zeros. I think I took many triple zeros on the PCT. You know, mostly for my ankle, like in Cascade Locks, I had to take like 2 or 3 zeros because my ankle, I couldn't even put pressure on it. The next day I got in there, I couldn't fucking walk without a pack on, let alone with weight. And then I ended up having to take like a 4 or 5 day zero in Etna, California, I think it was. I think that was I was staying in a park, and because I was getting my Sony camera repaired, and they shipped the body back, but not the lens. So I was stuck in this fucking city park for like 5 days waiting on my lens to show up. And the goddamn sprinklers would go off like twice a day, soaking my ass. Fucking sucked, man. But luckily that it worked out kind of because somebody I can't remember who sent me a resupply to that town, but they'd sent like fucking 20 pounds worth of food. So I was just hanging out in this park, just devouring trail food. It was nice. I didn't have to go anywhere. uh, did you take you a long time to find a place in Maine? So yeah, I told you it's kind of like boom, boom, get off the trail, go to Maine. So within a matter of like 2 weeks before I got a trail, I got to a town, and that's why I hit up Hyperlight to see if they're hiring. They said, "Oh yeah, come on up." And then okay, I'm like, I don't have a place to live. I don't know anybody up there. So then I went on Craigslist, put an ad up real quick in a town. But the next town I reached, I had a couple offers. Reached out to this couple that lives here that I'm renting a bedroom from them, and they just happened to live like 10 minutes from Hyperlight, and they knew I was broke. So like, I just wait a few weeks and don't worry about it until you start getting some incomes. So right now, I'm relying on that YouTube money to pay rent, but uh, it worked out well. So is the CDT next? Yeah, CDT's next. Probably 2021. That's what we're gonna shoot for. Just need 1 year off. That's all. Damn, we got 350 fucking people in here. Damn near. Any snowshoeing planned for this winter? Yeah, I'm gonna start my hand at snowshoeing. I actually had bought snowshoes when I lived out in Montana, but never really used them. I think I might have used them one time, and but, all the snow we're gonna get up here in Maine. Yeah, I'm gonna buy some and try that out. Do some winter hiking. I got a little more experience here on the PCT, so I think I kind of enjoyed it towards the end. Well, I got better at it anyway. I didn't say I enjoyed it, but I got better at doing it. Was there any food in the Rangers cabin? No, no food. We weren't supposed to be in there. In fact, we're getting fined for that. Beats hit me up the other day, and I guess they hit him up. I think he or some of them left contact information just to let him know we are going out, and that there were people alive out on the trail. Figured it'd be smart, so they had hit him up probably to check and see if he was alive, and told Beats had to fess up that we stayed there. So Beats said he sent him a fine for doing that. So we're all chip in and pay for it, but yeah, we got fined for that, but it saved our life pretty much, so I don't regret that shit. There was no food in there, but the wood burning stove was fucking key, man. For us to be able to dry our shit out, and that pretty much saved our lives right there. Gear you would change? Not that I would change it, but my quilt. I wish I would have had a new quilt, especially for that last stretch. I used the same Enlightened Equipment 20 degree that I used on the AT, and it was all patched up and shit, and it never lofted properly again. So even though I didn't get extremely cold, there was a couple nights where to layer up with all my shit, but I wish I had that nice loft in that bag. So I just didn't want to drop like 300 fucking dollars on a new quilt. But that's the first on my agenda is to get a new quilt for this winter. How did it handle the cold towards the end? Yeah, it was fine. I mean, I wasn't like sweating in there, but I wore all my base layers. I put my puffy on at night and put my buff over my face and that kind of shit, and I stayed fairly warm. With all that snow, it didn't get that fucking cold as you might think from watching the videos. It was below freezing for sure. There was probably a couple mornings that got down below 20 or around 20 degrees, but I never really felt that cold. I think for the majority of those nights, it was probably hovering around freezing at night. I am hiking the PCT in 2020. Well, get your ass out there. You will not regret it. It's fucking awesome. Hopefully, you don't have as much snow as I did. How's the hiking around Biddeford? There's a lot of crackheads around here. I just hike around town, go to the coffee shop and shit, blend in with the hipsters and shit. But there's a lot of crackheads running around here. But when you look like I do, they kind of just scurry the other way. Coke or Pepsi? I'm on that Diet Coke life, man. Diet Coke for life. I need a Diet Coke sponsorship, but I'm trying to wean myself off because I drink it. On the trail it doesn't really matter really. I mean it matters. You're still putting shit in your body, but now that I'm not hiking every fucking day, I gotta be somewhat aware of what I'm putting in my body. Because when I got the AT, I just kept eating like a hiker the whole off season. So I'm eating some salads and shit and trying to put some good shit in my body. Still eating garbage though. Oh, a lot of questions coming in now. I can't read that fast. God damn it. Uh, how long did it take you typically at the end of each day to edit video? Between 45 minutes to an hour usually. It took longer when I was filming with my Sony because with my Sony, I had to transfer all the footage every night onto my iPad, and that process of just transferring the footage so it would sometimes, depending on how much I filmed, obviously, would take like half hour sometimes before I could edit, and then it was another 45 minutes of editing. But with towards the end when I was filming with my iPhone, I could just airdrop all that shit onto my iPad, or when I was editing with my phone, I just had it all on there, so it made it a little quicker. But yeah, I would say about an hour every night. Will I shave my beard? Hell fucking no. Hell no. Was there a video of me coming back from Canada? No, I was so fucking mentally drained. And when I finished the PCT, I was actually relieved to throw the camera down for a few days and just hang out with the crew. And actually, when we got into Manning Park, so when you cross the Canadian border, it's like an 8.5 mile hike into Canada to Manning Park. And there was a resort there and shit, which they charged up the ass. We weren't going to stay, but they got a restaurant, so we obviously ate. And I got poutine right away and had some fish and chips and some poutine for my first meal. And then at the resort though, they let hikers use a hot tub. They got a hot tub there, so all four of us just jumped in the fucking hot tub. It was the greatest fucking thing ever, and I was just like just chilling there. It was fucking amazing. But I didn't film. And if I would have took the train out here, I would have because it would have been somewhat of an experience. But I literally just we got a ride to Vancouver, and I hopped on a flight, and I was here, and I was just drained. I didn't sleep at all, and I'd been up for a few days and shit, and I was just mentally drained. So I didn't film coming back. But when I go get Roscoe, I'll try to film that, even if I don't have a new camera by then. I'll bring the iPhone along and try to film that trip getting Roscoe. How much footage did I lose when I lost my camera? I think there was maybe 3 days worth of footage. But looking back at it now, I don't think I filmed that much. Like, I filmed every day, but I didn't film that much footage because it was just pissing rain for those like 3 days. And that last day before I lost it, it rained on me for 12 hours, so I didn't film much that day at all. So, and luckily I had the night before I lost it, I actually dumped my card of the photos at least, so I had all the photos I had taken on my phone. So I didn't lose any photos, just maybe a couple days worth of video footage. But I mean, that's a 3,000 fucking dollar camera. That's the main thing. Uh, Anything that surprised me about the PCT compared to what you expected? the water in the desert, I never hiked in the desert before. I'd never been to California, Oregon, or Washington before. So when I had thought in my mind of what the desert was going to be like, now obviously it's like this some years, this is dry as shit and you're hauling like 7, 8 liters of water sometimes. I could have gotten away, hiking throughout the day, just carrying 2 liters, that would have been fine. The desert was actually, the water sources were flowing through there. So obviously dry camping and shit, I liked having more water on me. So generally I would carry 4 liters on me. I think the most I ever carried in the desert was like five, maybe six. But I never used it all. It was mainly just for camping and shit. But yeah, there's a lot of water through the desert, more than I expected anyway. And there are dry stretches in the desert. I should say there's water sources flowing everywhere. There are dry stretches, obviously, but the locals know that, and there's water caches along the way, and they were always stocked. Hell, I remember come up on one water cache, and there was probably shit 100 of those like massive fucking water tank. Like I don't know how many gallons it is, but they use in like office buildings and shit. There's probably 100 of those sitting in the middle of the fucking desert. So locals know, and especially with all the crowds on the PCT this year, that those water caches are constantly stocked. And that was a very pleasant surprise because I was kind of freaking out about that going in the desert. Will you do a bloopers video? Yeah, I'm actually going to be able to finally go through some of that footage. I had to get a dongle for my laptop, because of the USB-C bullshit. I didn't have a way to put my SD cards in there, so now I finally got one of those. I got 12 SD cards worth of video footage, like 1,200 gigs. So it's gonna take me a while to go through all that shit, but I'll get some compilation videos eventually done for y'all. How many miles do you think you sacrifice due to filming every day? It adds up. And I didn't realize how much it added up until I started hiking with people. Like this year, I hiked with Tortuga through the Sierra and hiked with Feathers through Oregon and part of Washington, and then hiked with the crew there towards the end. And I noticed hiking around people that I wasn't stopping to film as much, mainly because, if you're hiking with somebody, and especially through the Sierra and me and Tortuga, you want to stay close to each other. So I had to sacrifice filming time. But when I was hiking alone again, I noticed how much I fucking stopped to film. It's quite a lot. So you know, I would have to push all day to 20 miles. It would take me all fucking day because I do stop and film quite a bit. Can I talk about rattlesnakes a little bit? So I luckily didn't see any rattlesnakes, not one on the fucking PCT. I had heard two, I think. One was fairly close. I could tell it was in a bush, like right off the trail, but I never did see it because I didn't stick around to fucking look at it. I just basically ran away from it because I hate snakes. But yeah, I think I only had two rattle at me, and I'm sure I passed by a dozen more, but never saw them, and they never rattled. But because I would talk to hikers that same day when I could camp, and they're like, "Did you see all those fucking rattlesnakes in there?" I'm like, "No." Like I saw four. I'm like, "Well, I never fucking saw them." So they're out there. I just never experienced them. Thank fuck for that, because I don't deal good with snakes. How about that fist fight over your clothes? Yeah, I never put that in my video, did I? Really, because when that happened, my ankle was all fucked up and I was in a lot of pain. So I was just laying on my ass in my hotel room. So yeah, Feathers had interviewed me for her YouTube channel. So if you didn't catch that, so what happened was I got into Cascade Locks, right? And this is when my ankle was really fucked up. Like I did, that was my biggest mileage day. I think I did 37 and a half into Cascade Locks, and which was a stupid decision because I couldn't put pressure on my ankle the next day. So anyway, I'm just chilling around the hotel room, and I decided since I had all this time to kill, I was gonna dry my quilt in the dryer they had there on the premises to get the loft back up on it. So as many of you know, when you're drying down, it takes fucking forever. So I was pumping this machine full of quarters all fucking day, like, like 4 cycles worth, and it was still not quite there yet. And so I went out there for like the fourth or fifth cycle to dump, more quarters in. And these fucking PCP cracked fucking heads, locals obviously, were using the laundromat there at the hotel, and they had put their wet clothes in my dryer on top of my fucking quilt that I'd been pumping quarters in all fucking day, and I lost my shit. And so I opened up the dryer door, and I'm like, what the fuck is this? And then they denied it. And I pulled out the tennis balls because I had put tennis balls in there to loft it up, right? I said, are these your fucking tennis balls? And the dude's like, yeah, those are mine. I'm like, bull fucking shit. So then I took all their fucking clothes and started throwing their wet clothes and started throwing them on the floor right in front of their faces. And the girl, his girlfriend was with them. She unloaded on me and punched me in the side of the fucking head. Obviously, I'm not going to hit back a woman. So I kind of just like defended myself, and she went to go kick me, and I kind of put my hand out to defend myself and grabbed her ankle, and she fell on her fucking ass. And then her boyfriend jumped in and started fighting me, and I grabbed that fucker by the shirt and the throat and pushed him against the fucking wall. And then it was kind of like a standoff, like, okay, one of us has to fucking make a move. This is going to turn ugly real fast. So I said, fuck all y'all. I grabbed my quilt and took it out of there so they wouldn't fucking wreck it, and went back in my hotel room until I left. And then went back out there and had to re-dry it. So I was up to like fucking midnight that night drying my quilt. But I finally got it, and I got to fight with some fucking crackheads. And meanwhile, my ankle's all fucked up. I couldn't even put pressure on it, and I'm fighting, fist fighting crackheads. Yeah, good times. Did I keep my food in my tent? How'd you keep bears away? Yeah, kept my food in my tent, and I slept on it many fucking nights. I didn't plan on hanging my food since day number one. I'm too lazy for that shit. I learned that on the AT. Bear situation. I think I saw maybe 3 or 4 bears on the PCT in California and shit, and one in Oregon. I think they're just like East Coast, but the East Coast bears. So from my experience, anyway, just yell them, they run away. I never had them come into my camp, and if they did, just yell at them, they run away for the most part. So yeah, I'm too lazy. In the morning when you're sore as shit, you don't want to be going fucking getting your food down from a tree to drink your coffee and shit and eating. You just want to pack up and go. So I don't know of anybody who fucking hung food on the PCT. I mean, you wouldn't even be able to in the desert. Um, but even in the north, I never saw anybody hanging their fucking food. And if a bear comes and mauls your ass, don't blame that shit on me. Hang your food if you're concerned about bears, but I ain't fucking concerned about them. When I do the CDT, that's a different story. Grizzlies are a whole different ballgame. Then yeah, bear spray, all that shit. Hanging my food away from my fucking tent, cooking away from my tent, all that stuff. I'm not worried about black bears. Have I considered the long trail? It's one of those trails that there's plenty of short, long trails that you can do. Yeah, I would do it. I have nothing against doing the long trail. Not this off season or probably not next year, but yeah, I might get to that eventually. CDT planning for that is the main priority, and just doing some fun weekend trips and shit with Roscoe here in Maine. That's my main priority right now. How did I keep my pillow from slipping off my pad? I didn't have a pillow. I used my clothes bag as a pillow. And then when my pod sacks were really stuffed full of food, I would double that up on top of my clothes bag to have a really nice pillow. So yeah, when I sleep kind of weird. I don't know if anybody else does this, but I'm a side sleeper, right? And I have to sleep with my one of my hands under my head like this. It's really fucking weird. And my hand always falls asleep, so I'm constantly rolling back and forth. But I just like that extra tilt on my head. I don't know. So I guess maybe that would keep the shit in place. I don't fucking know. I never had my clothes bag roll off my pillow, my pad. Would I consider Sobo for the CT? No, I want to do all 3 trails northbound. Now, if a situation were occurring, I had to flip, I would. I was going to do that on the PCT, but I felt comfortable, especially after a week in the Sierras, that I could go through northbound. Um, I mean, if you have to flip, you have to flip, but I would start out going northbound for sure, and try to do everything in my power to go northbound the whole way. You may have addressed this. New camera coming. Can we help? Yeah, you can help. I mean, I don't have a new camera. I don't have the money to buy a new camera right now. But if you go, all my support links are all in the description boxes of all my videos. PayPal and Patreon and all that shit. If you want to donate to get my ass a new camera, see Cape Cod. No, I'm not an ocean guy, man. Even though the ocean's right here, I give 2 shits about the ocean. I don't care about the water. It's not my thing, man. Go see it for a day. I went over there, like I said, the other day and check out the beach, and man, it was cool. But I'm like, okay, I saw it. Not my thing, man. I'm in the woods and mountains and shit. Did I get a Maine lobster roll? Not yet since I moved here. I got one when I was on the AT. I had to. It was overrated. I'm not a big seafood guy, but I figured once I was on the trail and where did I get that in? There's so many. I can't remember all those Maine towns I went through. Stratton maybe, Andover. I can't remember which. I think it might have been Andover. I had a lobster roll in one of those cafes. It was pretty good, but it wasn't like $15 good. How many times did I get asked for my permit? Twice. There was not a soul around at the border starting out in Campo. I actually got dropped off at the monument by Border Patrol, but he didn't ask me shit. He picked me up and gave me a ride to the monument. There's no rangers or anything at Campo. I got checked in Yosemite because it's Yosemite, right? They're just checking everybody through there. And the guy was real friendly though. It was a pain in the ass, digging all my shit in my pack and finding my permit because I forgot where I put it. But then he was nice about it. And then I got checked again in Oregon. And that guy was a fucking asshole. I think I had a good rant on YouTube for that. The guy was a dickhead. He was just one of those power trip fucking asshole. I call him the mall cops of the forest. The guy was just an asshole. And he's like, "Oh yeah, your PCT permit expires in like 10 days." I'm like, "Well, if you want to pick my ass up and carry me off the trail, have at it. Otherwise, I'll see you in Canada, bitch." And I just kept walking. That guy was a dickhead. And then crossing the border, when you cross into Canada, you're supposed to have not only your passport and your long distance permit, but they also require a entry into Canada via the PCT permits. It's fucking stupid, man. I had applied for mine just to be legal and shit, but I got denied on my application and they don't tell you what the fuck is wrong with it. So, and then it's a 6 week process to redo it. So I'm like, fuck all this shit. I plan on hiking back the 30 miles to Harts Pass. I'm like, I'm not doing that shit. And then when we got to the border, we're like, well, fuck, we're not hiking back to that shit we just came through. So I had my passport on me. We just hiked into fucking Canada and see a soul. Nobody asked us. Obviously, I needed my passport to fly back into the U.S., but nobody checked for that shit and going into Canada. If you want to smuggle drugs into Canada, that'd be the fucking place to do it, man. There's nobody checking shit, man. Camino in Spain. The whole overseas thing. I would like to do it at some point, but there's so much shit in the U.S. I haven't seen yet. And the United States is a beautiful goddamn country, man. My laundry list of fucking trails I want to do in the U.S. is just a mile long, man. I gotta fucking see all the U.S. first before I consider going overseas. I'm 38, sitting here coming on 39 years old, and there's so much shit I haven't fucking seen yet. Did Colin finish the PCT? So Colin, the British guy, I was hiking around for quite some time. We kept bumping into each other and shit. He ended up having to get off trail, which is heartbreaking because that dude is awesome. I loved hiking around him, and especially at camp, just bullshitting with him and shit. And what's so heartbreaking about it is he tried the PCT last year, and he had to get off trail at like mile 1200 because he had a bone infection or some shit in his foot. He had to fly back to London and get like surgery, like ASAP for it. And then he had the balls to come out and do it again. And he had lost so much weight towards the end there, and we were actually into Stevens Pass together. Well, he was like a day behind me, and that's when that first snowstorm hit. Where you see that big ice beard I had. He got caught up in that for a whole fucking day, and by the time he got into town, he had reevaluated the situation. His shoes, his boots, the new boots that he bought were leaking, and he lost a lot of weight, and he just didn't think he could go on. So he ended up pulling the plug, which is completely understandable. It just sucks. I felt bad for the dude because, he attempted it 2 years in a row, and both got the shit end of the stick both times. The dude's an amazing hiker. He hiked the AT in I think I want to say 2015 or 16. He can do miles big time. He's a hell of a hiker. Just bad luck. Still planning on doing the coffee table book? No, probably not. I don't know. I would like to, but when I look into doing all this shit and I get so many requests for prints and coffee table books and calendars and all this shit, that stuff costs a lot more money than you would think to make. So, to do a coffee table book, it would probably cost me like $50 or $60 to do, and that's just a small book. And then I'd have to charge up the ass to even make a profit on it. So, I don't know if people would be willing to do that. The calendar thing, I made a calendar today because I got a lot of requests for that today. I did a sample one I ordered, so I'll get that in the mail and see how it turns out. I might do a short run of calendars. But I've got so many fucking photos, it's hard to pick just 12. It's a lot smaller than a 2 liter. How did I land in Maine? I flew out here from Vancouver. It was a very long flight. Three layovers I had Charlotte. No, just 2 layovers. Charlotte and Seattle. I can't remember. Seattle, then Charlotte, I think, and then up to Maine by plane. Yeah, a YouTube subscriber had a shit ton of miles built up. He picked up my flight for me. I was gonna hitchhike. I didn't have any fucking money left. I'm just gonna stick my thumb out and make it to Maine. But he had all these miles. So he's like, I'm not using them. Just use my miles. So I got hooked up with a flight, which saved me a lot of fucking heartache. Although that would make good for YouTube content, hitchhiking from fucking Vancouver, Canada to Maine. Biggest challenge, Sierra or Cascades? The Cascades. Now, there were points in the Sierra that were obviously sketch as fuck. You know, some of the passes, particularly Mather Pass, and a lot of those river crossings were obviously sketch. But I think the stress level, and just because it was the end of the trail and we were all burnt out mentally, that last stretch fucking sucked. The last 60 miles took us 7 days to do. It was slow going, man. I mean, at some points, it was waist deep snowbanks, and there was nobody in front of us. We were breaking trail the whole fucking time. Luckily, the group I was with was so badass. We just took turns breaking trail, so nobody got extremely fucking like exhausted. But yeah, we broke trail the whole fucking last stretch. And a lot of times we didn't know where the fucking trail was. Sometimes you could see the indentation where the snow had kind of dipped and kind of make it out, but we were gut hooks all fucking day, man. It sucked. Talk about the fearmonger video. Hindsight wise, fear mongering pissed me off. I fucking hated that shit. I got some free shit somewhere. I was in Oregon, tail end of Oregon, maybe early Washington. Some guys like, don't go up in North Cascades. You're way too fucking late. I'm like, fuck you, asshole. If I had listened to fear mongering like back in the Sierras, like all those fuckers did back then, I never would I'd be talking to you, would I? I made it to the Sierras. So fuck all that fear mongering bullshit. I'm gonna go up and see this shit for myself. If it's too sketchy, I'll fucking get out of there. But the words you put into my fucking head aren't gonna make a goddamn difference. Did I miss my duplex? I love the spaciousness of the duplex. That's the one biggest comparison between the Hyperlight Durgo and the duplex. The duplex is more spacious inside because the Durago's got the pitched sides, right? So you're losing that headroom on either end. But as far as durability goes, the Durago was a hell of a lot more durable. They just use a thicker Dyneema. I mean, I've Beats used the duplex, the camo version. His held up just fine. I think he was getting some pinhole marks and shit, and it's towards the end. Um, but yeah, the camo one they make, I think, is thicker Dyneema. All right, fuckers, we'll stand in a couple more questions, and we'll get fuck out of here. I don't have batteries, and my phone's about to die anyway. What has been the most difficult 10 miles of any trail you have done? That's a good question. Um, that 7.5 miles I did into Stevens Pass, that first blizzard, that was extremely difficult. And it wasn't like I wasn't in like knee deep snow or anything like that, but it was a fucking blizzard. Like I couldn't see shit, and all my stuff was soaked, right? And I was just discombobulated. My hands not freezing. I couldn't feel my toes. By the time I got into Stevens Pass, right, it's a ski resort, and the ski resort was open, so there's nobody around. But thankfully, Ski Patrol was there early for the season, prepping stuff for the upcoming season. Or else I would have been fucked, man. I couldn't feel my hands. My toes were numb. I had an ice beard down to here. And I was like looking wide eyed as shit. Like, somebody fucking help me. Can I get in and warm up, please? And luckily, the ski patrol let me in there, and they had a washer and dryer, let me dry out my shit, and they made me fucking coffee and shit just to warm up. It took me fucking half hour just to feel my hands again. That was fucking sketch. That was one of the worst 7.5 miles I've ever done in my life. It was a straight up blizzard, man. And I'm losing my camera on top of all that shit. New appreciation for hiking with the others? Yeah, for sure. I've never been against like really 100%. I just prefer to hike alone, but on this trail it's almost necessary to hike with groups at times. So have a good weekend, Ina. Thank you. Ina's the one watching Roscoe for me. Thank you, thank you, thank you. I'm forever indebted for watching my baby boy. Thanks for the Q&A. We'll do one more question. How's that, fuckers? Next good question I see is gonna be the last one. Not a repeat, please. Although some fuckers don't know, they've hopped in here late. Do I miss the trail? Well, that's an obvious question, but I'm going to answer it anyway. Yes, I miss the trail. The biggest thing when you finish a through hike is there's a sense of relief, but then it quickly turns to like, damn it, I wish it was 1,000 more miles. And that happens. It's happened to me both times. Um, when you get home, and especially this year when I got home from the PCT, I was just so drained mentally that I was relieved to be done, and I didn't have to go through that all that cold and snow anymore. But then I got home, and even though my body is hurting and shit, your mind is still go, 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 go. Because you've been doing it for 6 fucking months. So you're mentally, even though you're drained, you're in that hiking mode. So even though you're in pain and you're tired, it's just what you do. You get up and you go through the pain. You do it every fucking day. So your mind is still thinking that in that mindset, but your body's like, I can't do any fucking more. So it's a weird feeling. And just walking around town and shit, especially the first couple days, it's like, man, I can barely fucking walk. Yeah, and mentally, I'm like, okay, let's do fucking 20. It's a weird mindset you get in when you through hike. You're in so much pain a lot of times, but you don't fucking care. It's just what you do, and you push through the pain. So yeah, that's the transition I'm going through. We'll make it through though. It's never easy, but we'll get out hiking soon. Hopefully, get my baby boy up here soon, and hopefully, we'll start working here soon. Get out some videos for fuckers, and get some new camera gear, and we'll be up rolling again. So. Thank you all for tuning in. I know it took quite a while to check in with y'all, but I appreciate your patience. We'll check back in with you soon, guys. Take care. Fuckers.